Welcome to the show, everybody. Joseph Robert, the fantasy football counselor. Today we are talking about 3 wide receivers to target in the early rounds. The early rounds can include the first round, second round, or third round. These are the wide receivers that you should target if you go wide receiver in the first 3 rounds, which I don't recommend you do, but if you must, these are the 3 to target for 2020 fantasy football. Let's get to it. Welcome to the show, everybody, guys. I am excited. We are talking about the 3 wide receivers I like to target in the early rounds. Well, I'm going to give you 3. There's more, but I wanted to give you a small list that if you must go wide receiver in the first 3 rounds or in the early rounds, these are the guys to target. Now, you're saying, Joe, it's common sense. I know which guys to target. It's pretty obvious. I know who the top wide receivers are. Yes, but you got to be aware of the potential pitfalls. I do a ton of videos on players to avoid. That's why you got to click subscribe. There's a ton of content here so you guys can avoid the potential pitfalls. Again, years I've been saying, everybody was saying, draft Odell in the first round. He is the guy. I'm like, no, listen, there's going to be a decline. Everyone last year was on the Davante Adams train, right? Because he had a big year the year after. I'm like, no, I wrote him when he was big. I said, I'm going to stay away from this year. You got to know when to hold him, know when to fold him, right? You got to spot the trends when things are rising and when things are falling, okay? So the guys I'm going to give you here, if you must go wide receiver in the first 3 rounds, which again, I don't recommend, these are the 3 guys that might be safer to consider in the 3 rounds. Before I get into this, guys, leave a comment below. Let me know who you like out of this list, if you consider drafting them, and the guys to avoid below at wide receiver. I'm going to state 2 names here. Let's interact, guys. I love interacting. I'll get back to as many people as I can. And of course, before I get into this show, guys, make sure you guys head over to thefantasyfootballcounselor.com. If you're listening in the car, just Google Fantasy Football Counselor. The website comes up. Or click on the link below. Get the 16-round draft solution. The first ever and only video training to help you guys dominate your leagues. Guys, I'm excited. It's NFL draft week, so I'm pumped up. I'm getting in the zone for 2020 fantasy football. Hopefully you guys are too. So smash that thumbs up. It means the world to me. All right, so let's go. 3 wide receivers I like. First guy, Michael Thomas. I know it seems pretty obvious, but understand, guys, he may decline this upcoming year. This is why I go running back early, because I can get a ton of value at wide receiver. This is the year out of any year. I mean, last year was good too, but I think this year there's going to be more value. Henry Ruggs, Jerry Jeudy, all these rookies are coming in that are talented. They could, CeeDee Lamb, they could get an immediate fantasy impact that you can get later. There's also a ton of other sleepers. That's why you guys got to subscribe. There's a ton of sleeper videos that I already have out that are coming out as well, where you can target wide receivers later. You don't need to go wide receiver early, but if you absolutely must, and if you feel it in your heart of hearts, Michael Thomas is safe. But understand, 185 targets last year for 149 receptions. That is very pinnacle of him, over 1,700 receiving yards. I don't see him duplicating that this year, so be cautious. You know, draft Michael Thomas with the notion, with the understanding that he's going to have a good year. But do not expect last year's numbers. But if you must go wide receiver, Michael Thomas is one of the 3 wide receivers I recommend targeting. Another one, again, no particular order, guys. You can mix and match. Either one of these guys could surpass each other. And Davante Adams, my number 2 guy here, could surpass Michael Thomas here. Now, he played 12 games last year, had 127 targets. He was not utilized enough in the passing game, again, because of that injury. Only 5 touchdowns. The year before, he absolutely crushed it with 169 targets. I mean, he was a top 3, top 2 wide receiver the 2018. Let me tell you exactly. I think he was number 2 in 2018. Yes, he was. He was number 2 behind Adams with 329 points, fantasy points, 13 touchdowns, 1,386 receiving yards. Okay, I can't memorize everything, right? Stick with me. He was number 2 in 2018. Again, fell off last year. They went to the run. I think they're going to go back to the passing game in 2020 fantasy football, and Davante Adams is going to be a beneficiary. So if you do have to go wide receiver early, Adams is a guy that can have a bounce back season. I do like him, okay? Now, a lot of people are saying, before I get to the third guy, a lot of people are saying, well, what about Tyreek Hill, Joe? What about DeAndre Hopkins? Now, what about Godwin? Listen, these guys, I have my reasons. That's a whole other video. But just let me put it this way. Hopkins for this year, you know, new team, new offense, and you're saying, well, Joe, he had other crappy quarterbacks throwing to him in the past, Brock Osweiler, all these scrubs, this and that, and he still did well. Yes, but understand, guys, They want to line up four wide in Arizona, and they maxed out their number one receiver last year, Larry Fitzgerald, who happens to still be on the Arizona Cardinals, maxed out at 109 targets. DeAndre Hopkins is the guy that demands targets. Now, for example, Hopkins in 2018 had 163 targets. So if Fitzgerald from Arizona had 109 targets max with Kyler, how is Hopkins even going to get 140? Now, unless Kyler goes to him, that's a whole other topic. The point I'm trying to make is, guys, I've picked out holes in the games of Godwin, Hopkins, and Tyreek that may signal a decline. Godwin, for example, new quarterback, right? Like Tom Brady. He's going to probably either target him or Evans. Again, it's totally other videos. I can't get into it in this video, but I will tell you, I have handpicked these three guys. Julio is my third guy. Adams and Michael Thomas, because I feel genuinely that if you go wide receiver, these are the safest guys to go with. And when you are drafting a wide receiver or anybody early, you got to go with some guy you feel safe with and there isn't any major red flags or objections, okay? So stick with me. Nobody's teaching this stuff, guys. They're just telling you, hey, these were the top finishers last year. Hey, draft them again. It's crazy. It's crazy. The guys that are discovering you now are excited. They're like, holy crap. Finally, somebody is speaking my language. There's no cookie cutter BS every single year. This is the future, guys. Right here, I am the future of fantasy. Taking over the industry with you guys. Council Nation, there's a logo here. All right, so Julio Jones is my third wide receiver, guys. I'm speaking with passion here because I want you to win. Listen, last year, every year, he puts up an amazing amount of yardage, PPR machine, 157 targets. So he is the go-to guy for Matt Ryan. That isn't going to change. I'm expecting an increase in volume for Calvin Ridley this year. But listen, Julio is a guy that you can get earlier that is super safe. But a tip, fantasy football draft advice, fantasy football draft tip for you right here. If you do go wide receiver early, if you get Devontae Adams late first round or Michael Thomas or Julio, which I don't recommend you doing. Again, you go running back, maybe even triple head running back, right? If you do go wide receiver, make sure you go running back rounds 2 and 3. And I talk about this in my 60-round draft solution because I want to make sure you have a balanced roster and you're set and you're solidified and you have depth at every position. But in my heart of hearts, I'm telling you guys, I would wait on wide receiver, but I had to give you guys 3 safe plays here if you do go wide receiver. And again, you hear it every single year. Go Odell Beckham first round. That's what they tell you. That's what they say every single year. They say go Odell first round, which is the worst thing that you could possibly say and do, right? So if you are looking at Odell in the first round, I would say avoid him. He is a top 10 wide receiver yet again by the mainstream consensus. Avoid Odell Beckham Jr., okay? That's what I'm telling you guys. Avoid Odell Beckham Jr., all right? And again, they're going to keep leading you astray with the copy and paste rankings. That's why you got to subscribe here and leave a thumbs up because that's going to help you guys dominate your league. So, safe place, 3 wide receivers to target in the early rounds. Michael Thomas, Devontae Adams, Julio Jones. There you have it, guys. And again, make sure you guys are subscribed. I will see you guys next video. I can't wait for Fantasy Football 2020. Be safe, get the 60-round draft solution, and I am out.